Evolution, where construction meets innovation.
Evolution. Let's build the future together.
Welcome to this deep dive. You've brought us some really interesting material. Today we've got this intro snippet from the Bovolution podcast and also Christian K. Carl's article in Bovolution, the one called Digital Transformation in Freien Fall, 7 Lehren für Ihren Erfolg.
Yeah, that's right. The Bovolution folks, Dave and Carol, they kind of set the stage talking about what's new in construction tech. And then Christian, he takes this really, unusual angle.
Unusual is right. He uses skydiving.
Skydiving, yeah. As a metaphor for digital transformation.
Yeah.
It's different.
Definitely different. So our goal here is to really unpack these sources, pull out the key takeaways, the actionable stuff, and explore these connections he makes. Specifically, this skydiving analogy.
I'm intrigued. How does jumping out of a plane relate to, say, implementing BIM on a construction site?
Well, that's what we're going to find out. He breaks it down into 7 lessons, each tied to a part of the skydive. It's quite a structured approach, actually.
10 lessons.
Okay.
Ready to jump in. Pun intended, I guess.
Yeah. Let's do it. Okay, lesson 1. Mut zum Absprung. The courage to jump off.
The initial leap.
Exactly. Christian paints this picture, standing at the aircraft door, 4,000 meters up, that blast of cold air, maybe a 20-degree difference, the wind.
Yeah, you've had the briefing, wind checks, drop zone details, everything's planned meticulously. But still.
Still, you have to actually step out. And he says that takes real courage, leaving the known, the familiar plane, for the unknown air.
So the analogy here is leaving behind established processes, methods, maybe decades of experience in construction.
For something new, untested, digital, there's that fear of change, right? That hesitation.
Absolutely. Decision makers in construction must feel something similar when they're contemplating, investing heavily in a new digital platform or fundamentally changing how they work.
And the first lesson he draws from this is you have to move from just talking about it, the theory, to actually doing it, acting.
Taking the jump instead of just looking out the door.
Right. He uses Netflix as an example. Their massive shift from DVDs by mail.
Which was working fine for them at the time.
To streaming. It was a huge leap of faith. There wasn't really a proven model for that then. But look at them now.
It's a good example, but maybe a bit grand scale compared to most construction firms.
True. So thinking about construction, what are those specific hesitations? You mentioned BIM, maybe adopting drone surveying for the first time.
Exactly. Things like that. Investing in the tech, the training, disrupting existing workflows. It feels risky when projects have tight margins and schedules. The potential payoff speed, accuracy, data has to outweigh that perceived risk.
So how do companies build up that courage? Christian suggests maybe don't try to change everything at once. Start smaller.
Pilot projects?
Yeah, manageable projects. Build confidence. Show some early wins with the new methods or tech.
That sounds much more practical for this industry. Small successes can build momentum.
He also mentions finding people inside the company, internal evangelists, he calls them.
Champions, people who get it and are excited about it.
Exactly. Get them to lead small pilot projects with motivated teams. Test things out in a controlled way. He says those early wins are incredibly powerful motivators.
Makes sense. Having someone who understands the site realities and the digital tool explaining the benefits is way more effective than an outside consultant sometimes. Showing, not just telling.
And communication is key to fostering courage. Be really clear about why the change is needed, what the opportunities are. Paint that positive picture, not just focusing on the risks. People take risks when the reward is clear, right?
A clear strategy, well communicated.
Yeah.
If people understand the why, better safety maybe, or fewer errors, or staying competitive, they're more likely to get on board.
Right. And he adds this little personal note about the motto, Das Glück ist mit dem Mutigen. Fortune favors the bold.
Oh, okay.
He apparently first heard it in a Tom Clancy novel back in '96, Fighter Wing, and it stuck with him. It's also the motto of the 80th Fighter Squadron, apparently.
A bit of trivia to inspire action.
Yeah. Okay, so we've jumped, we're in the air. What's next?
Next up is Fryer Fall, free fall.
Okay, hurtling towards the Earth at, 180, 200 kilometers an hour? Sounds terrifying.
It does. But Christian's point is, even at that speed, experienced skydivers maintain calm and control. And that relies on trust.
Trust. Trust in what?
Trust in their training, their skills, and absolutely crucial, trust in their equipment, their parachute, their altimeter.
Ah, okay. So despite the speed and the apparent chaos, there's an underlying reliance on things working as they should.
Precisely. And he connects this to digital transformation. Companies need to trust the competencies of their teams using these new digital tools.
And trust the tools themselves, the technologies and methods they've chosen.
Right. Without that trust, every new digital step feels like, well, a terrifying uncontrolled fall. Which leads to lesson 2. Trust is the key to stability.
Trust as stability. I like that. He uses cloud technologies as an example here.
Yeah, that's a good one for construction. Remember the early days. The reluctance to put sensitive project data, blueprints, financials, somewhere off-site.
Oh, yeah. Big concerns about security, access, losing control. People were used to physical drawings, servers in the office.
Huge skepticism. Firms needed to build trust in the cloud provider's security, but also trust in their own IT teams to manage it properly.
And now, cloud is pretty much standard, essential even, for collaboration, accessing data from site.
Exactly. It's become an enabler, a great example of trust being built over time through reliability, improving the benefits.
So how do you actively build that trust in a construction context, especially around new digital stuff? He defines trust as believing someone else will do what's expected.
And he mentions vulnerability. The person trusting gives up some control, right? Believing the delegated task will be done right.
That's a big deal in construction. Accountability is everything. You're trusting the system, trusting the team using it, even if you can't see every click.
And that trust doesn't just appear. It's built through shared knowledge, positive experiences, seeing things work.
So practical steps. He suggests things like really thorough training on new tools.
And maybe giving people space to experiment, to learn, without fear of messing up immediately. Safe spaces to try things out.
Gradual rollouts, too. Introduce tech step by step, show the benefits clearly, fix problems quickly.
He mentions tech workshops, hands-on sessions. Let teams actually use the new software or drone or whatever.
That makes a huge difference, doesn't it? Seeing for yourself how an app simplifies site reports or how the drone data is more accurate builds confidence way better than a PowerPoint slide.
Absolutely. Practical experience builds trust.
And the flip side, what happens if that trust isn't there in a construction firm trying to go digital?
Well, like that skydiver doubting their chute, teams might resist using the new tools. They might stick to the old ways, find workarounds that actually undermine the whole point.
You see that happen, people not logging into the new system, complaining about it constantly.
Leads to missed efficiencies, delays. Maybe the whole investment doesn't pay off. It stalls progress.
So resistance isn't just stubbornness, it can be a symptom of lack of trust.
Exactly. So Christian's point is, trust isn't blind faith. It comes from good preparation, good training, proving the value and reliability. Companies that build that trust in their strategy, their tech, their people are just much better set up to handle the challenges.
Okay, trust established in free fall, parachute time.
Yep. Lesson 3, Steuerung in der Luft, steering in the air.
So the parachute's open, you're drifting down, but it's not passive, right?
Not at all. Skydivers are constantly adjusting, reacting to wind shifts, controlling speed, maintaining awareness to land safely where they intended. It requires agility, adaptability.
Things change up there, you need to react. Sounds a lot like a construction project.
Doesn't it? You can have the best plan, but then unexpected site conditions. Client changes their mind, new regulations pop up, materials are delayed.
Always something. So lesson 3 is agility in practice. You need to be able to adjust.
He actually uses the fashion industry as an example here.
Fashion. That seems random.
Well, he points out how quickly they can react to trends, optimizing supply chains to get new styles out in weeks. Construction cycles are longer, obviously, but that ability to respond quickly to change
Is just as vital. A sudden material shortage or a new safety rule requires a quick pivot.
Exactly. That
Yeah.
capacity to adapt is key.
So how do construction companies build this agility for digital transformation?
Culture is a big part of it. Fostering flexibility, learning, being willing to experiment. He talks about breaking down traditional hierarchies.
Shortening those decision paths, empowering teams on the ground.
Yes. Giving site managers the tools and the autonomy to make informed adjustments quickly based on what they're seeing. That can save huge amounts of time.
Makes sense. Waiting for approval from head office while the concrete needs pouring? Not agile.
Not at all. Transparent communication, clear goals are also vital, and using agile methods.
Like Scrum or Kanban. Breaking things into smaller chunks, regular feedback loops.
Exactly. Those methods allow teams to adapt as they go based on what they're learning. Seems tailor-made for construction's uncertainties.
And creating a culture where it's okay if things don't work out perfectly first time.
Yeah, viewing failure as a learning opportunity. Having regular retrospectives, what worked, what didn't, how do we improve next time? Leadership, acting more like mentors, providing good collaboration tools.
Fostering those interdisciplinary teams too, getting architects, engineers, site teams talking and sharing knowledge through these digital platforms.
That cross-functional collaboration is huge for finding agile solutions to site problems. His practical tip is really embedding those agile methods, regular feedback, iterative improvement.
And the risks of not being agile in construction's digital shift.
Like the skydiver ignoring the wind. You risk a bad landing. Companies risk falling behind more nimble competitors.
Missing out on new tech, failing to meet changing client demands, losing market share.
Definitely. Untapped innovation potential. Plus, employee frustration. If teams feel stuck, unable to adapt or improve things, morale drops.
Lower satisfaction, higher turnover.
Yeah.
And weaker customer loyalty if you can't respond quickly.
And think about crises, like the pandemic. Companies that weren't agile really struggled to adapt quickly. So agility isn't just nice to have, it's essential for survival.
Okay, steered through the air, and now for the critical part. Lesson 4, landing the landing.
This is where it all comes together, right? Christian says a safe landing needs precise preparation, accurate steering right till the end, and staying cool. Mistakes here, in the final flare, can be serious.
So the landing is the actual implementation. Putting the digital strategy into practice on the ground, it shows if all that planning and prep was good enough.
Exactly. It's not just about the vision, it's about the execution details and then analyzing the results. This phase, the landing, really determines the success and sets you up for the next jump.
So lesson 4, precise implementation and thorough analysis.
He uses BIM implementation as the example again. The landing isn't just buying the software, it's successfully creating and handing over a complete, accurate BIM model.
One that can actually be used downstream for facilities management, etc., which depends on all the previous steps being done, right goals, software choice, training.
And crucially, he notes, making sure the data in the model is accurate and consistent. That's often a weak point, incomplete data undermining the whole model's value.
And the analysis part, not just stopping at handover.
Right. The importance of post-project analysis. Lessons learned. What went well, what didn't. Use that to improve the next digital project. Though he admits that post-calculation review is often skipped or done poorly.
Yeah, the rush to the next project often takes over.
So a successful landing starts with clear goals and ends with proper follow-up. Everyone needs to know their role, how success is measured, a clear plan, monitored regularly.
His practical tip, create a detailed roadmap for each digital project. Milestones, responsibilities, success criteria, a guide for the implementation.
So what happens if you don't pay attention to the details in this landing phase?
Like a bad parachute landing, it can be costly and damaging. Flawed implementation of digital tools.
Leads to cost overruns, erodes trust, messes up the schedule.
He gives the example of rolling out new project management software without really digging into the company's specific workflows or data needs.
If you miss details like data migration, user training, integrating with old systems, the whole thing can just flop. Wasted money, frustrated users, no real benefit.
It really drives home that success is in the details. Like landing the parachute safely. Getting the implementation right leads to tangible results, cost savings, efficiency, and strengthens your competitive position.
It avoids those risks from small oversights and builds a foundation for more digital steps later. The jump is exciting, but the landing proves the skill.
Okay, landed safely, hopefully. But what if things go wrong unexpectedly? Lesson 5, not fall management, emergency management.
Yeah, this is crucial. Even the best skydivers face unexpected stuff, sudden weather change, maybe an equipment issue.
And construction sites always have unexpected issues. Plus, in the digital world, things like cyber attacks or system failures.
Exactly. Skydivers have drills, right? That Schauengreif trennen und reserve sequence he mentions. Look, grab, cut away, pull, reserve. It has to be automatic.
That muscle memory is vital under pressure.
And companies need similar ingrained responses for digital disruptions. Well-defined emergency plans to react quickly, minimize damage, and recover.
So, lesson 5. Emergency management isn't just a backup plan. It's a core strategic element of digital transformation.
He uses Zoom during the pandemic as an example. That massive sudden user surge created security issues, technical overload.
I remember that. They were under huge pressure.
But they reacted decisively, communicated openly, scaled up fast, and ultimately came out stronger. Shows digital resilience.
He also mentions big infrastructure projects like tunnels hitting unexpected geology. Crisis management is needed everywhere.
And good emergency management starts before the crisis hits, identifying risks, developing mitigation plans, regular risk assessments for digital stuff.
So what should construction companies be doing specifically?
He lists a few things. First, risk assessment and scenario planning. Think through potential crises like data breaches, ransomware, system failures. Develop detailed plans. Maybe even simulate them.
Practice the drills like the skydivers.
Exactly. Second, flexible IT infrastructure. Cloud redundancy helps absorb shocks or recover faster. Third, dedicated crisis teams. Clear roles, clear responsibilities, trained and empowered to act fast. Regular drills again.
Communication is huge too, right? In a crisis.
Oh, absolutely. Fourth, transparent communication protocols, internal and external. Being honest, proactive updates builds trust even when things go wrong. And fifth, learn afterwards. Postmortem analysis. What went wrong? What worked? How do we improve the plan?
His practical tip is having a solid business continuity plan, a BCP. Clear steps for different crises, data recovery, communication, training.
And the consequences of not being prepared.
Like the skydiver without emergency skills could be disastrous. A cyber attack could mean losing critical project data, huge financial hits, loss of client trust, potentially irreversible damage.
He points out that skydivers can't eliminate all risk, but training minimizes the impact. They practice deploying reserves sometimes. Same idea for digital preparation, minimizes the fallout.
And you learn from it. A small data breach, if handled well using the plan, teaches you how to strengthen security for next time.
It shifts you from being purely reactive to more proactive. Identifying vulnerabilities early, better backups, ongoing cybersecurity training for staff.
So good emergency planning isn't just insurance, it's a strategic advantage. It builds resilience, confidence, maybe even helps you recover faster than competitors when the unexpected happens. Okay, moving on. Lesson 6. Team RB at teamwork.
The formation skydiving analogy.
Right, where everyone has to move in perfect sync, precise coordination, clear communication. One person out of place can mess up the whole formation.
It's a great visual for collaboration, and digital transformation in construction absolutely demands that. Projects cut across departments: design, engineering, procurement, site ops.
Everyone needs to be on the same page, working together seamlessly. The success of digital tools often hinges on that cross-team collaboration. Without it, even great tech can fail.
So, lesson 6. Teamwork is a critical success factor.
He mentions Apple developing the iPhone, that integration of hardware, software, design, marketing, only possible through intense teamwork, everyone aiming for the same goal.
And in construction, implementing a shared BIM platform is similar.
Yeah.
Architects, engineers, contractors, subs all need to collaborate effectively within that digital environment.
He points out digital tools like Slack or Teams can help facilitate sharing, coordination, especially with remote teams.
But technology isn't the whole answer, is it?
No, he emphasizes culture. Needs to support collaboration, provide ways to resolve conflicts, clear roles, clear communication channels, and that shared understanding of the goals are essential.
His practical advice. Regular workshops, maybe team building stuff, to strengthen those bonds between departments. And really leveraging those digital tools to make collaborations smoother, especially across different sites or companies on a project.
What about the dangers of poor collaboration in construction's digital journey?
It can totally derail things. Silos between departments mean lost information, delayed decisions, inconsistencies.
Wasted time, higher costs, unhappy clients, frustrated staff. Especially with complex new tech or trying to work in agile ways. It can kill innovation too, cause conflicts.
He uses the example of poor collaboration between architects, engineers, and construction firms on big projects. If they aren't sharing info effectively, especially using digital tools like BIM,
you get planning errors, clashes, defects, delays. The whole point of BIM is to prevent that by providing a shared platform.
Exactly. It shows teamwork is more than just individuals doing their jobs. Like in formation skydiving, everyone relies on everyone else. A breakdown in one spot affects the whole project.
So strong teamwork, open communication, facilitated by digital tools. It leads to efficiency, innovation.
And better morale too, he notes. People are more motivated when they feel part of a cohesive team working towards clear goals. Companies that nail this are just better equipped for complex digital challenges.
All right, that brings us to the final lesson. Number 7. Continuous learning, continuous learning.
This feels like a natural wrap-up. He talks about how skilled skydivers are always analyzing their jumps, looking for ways to improve.
Even in that short 60-second free fall, they're thinking about body position, deployment, tracking the target.
Yeah, scrutinizing every detail. What could be better next time? That constant learning is vital for safety and performance in skydiving.
And he says it's just as essential in digital transformation. No company gets it perfect first time. There will be setbacks.
But those setbacks are where the best learning happens, if you're willing to look at them honestly.
So organizations that embrace continuous learning, that analyze mistakes, that always try to improve processes, they build a culture of growth, right? Lesson 7, learning is a fundamental strategy.
Absolutely. It's not just nice, it's strategic. Especially with tech changing so fast, companies that embed learning into how they operate can adapt, innovate, and stay competitive.
He brings in Amazon here, known for experimenting.
And learning from failures, too. He mentions the Fire Phone. It flopped.
Yeah, big time.
But instead of giving up, they analyzed why it failed and used those lessons to develop Echo and Alexa, which were huge successes.
So failure, viewed as learning, can lead to breakthroughs.
Exactly. And it's not just the organization learning, it's individuals too. Supporting employees in developing new digital skills through training, mentoring.
Making skills current. Using things like learning management systems, maybe.
Yeah, facilitating that ongoing development. It makes the whole company more adaptable. He says companies should see learning as strategic, actively seeking feedback, regular retrospectives, innovation workshops, knowledge sharing.
It starts with the culture, though, doesn't it? Being open about mistakes, not punishing them.
Crucial first step. His practical tip. Hold regular lessons learned sessions after digital projects. What worked, what didn't. Document it. Share it in a knowledge base so others don't repeat the same mistakes.
And the danger of not having that learning culture in digital transformation.
Like the skydiver who doesn't learn from errors. You risk repeating mistakes, which costs money, loses opportunities, erodes trust. Minor ignored issues can become major problems.
He uses Blockbuster as the stark example here.
Oh yeah, they saw streaming coming, saw Netflix pivoting.
But they didn't learn, didn't adapt, stuck with the old model. And, well, we know how that ended, while Netflix learned and thrived.
It's a powerful contrast. Every experience, good or bad, is a chance to learn. Digital transformation is a journey, not a destination. A lack of learning means weaknesses persist, and you can't adapt to new challenges or grab new opportunities.
And for individuals, too, failing to learn new digital skills means risking becoming irrelevant. Companies that foster learning get skilled, adaptable teams ready for whatever comes next.
Exactly, driving that sustained innovation.
Okay, so let's quickly recap those 7 lessons, keeping the skydiving analogy going. 1, the courage for the initial jump into the digital unknown.
2, building trust in people and tech for stability during the free fall.
3, agility to steer effectively through changes and turbulence.
4, precision for a successful landing. The implementation and analysis.
5, preparing for unexpected emergencies with good management plans.
6, the power of teamwork for coordinated, successful formations.
And 7, continuous learning from every single jump, every project to keep improving.
It really is a clever framework. Using those distinct phases of a skydive helps make the principles of digital transformation feel more tangible, more memorable.
I agree. It works surprisingly well. And it leaves us with a final thought for everyone listening. Looking at your own situation, what challenges are coming up on your horizon?
Where might you need to make some of those courageous decisions?
And maybe most importantly, how can you prepare your team, your formation for a successful transformation journey?
It really comes down to embracing that digital future with good planning, staying agile, and always being ready to learn.
Well said. Here's to a safe and successful digital descent for everyone. All right, well, that's a wrap for today. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we'll catch you next time.
This was Biovolution.
Where construction meets innovation. Until next time, keep building the future.